When you're on the kind of ragged edge of a problem that must be solved and the government has the authority and the wherewithal to do so on behalf of its citizens, that's a pretty special place. I spent 28 years at the National Security Agency. It's a large bureaucracy, to be sure. Across those 28 years, I met one or two people that truly had kind of bad intentions, were truly working for their own ends alone. But everyone else, I would say, at the end of the day, they were trying to do the right thing. And it was important for me to try to meet them more than halfway. Teams always beat kind of individual efforts, and coalitions they amplify the effect of teams. And we need to figure out, in a world which is greatly challenged, but within which we still have the human, population that aspires to do great things. How do we bring all those resources together in a way that the team can prevail or a coalition can prevail, where individuals will necessarily fail?
Recently, you've joined as a strategic board advisor to Semperis, and I'd love to get your thoughts on why did you choose us? I mean, why did you choose this area of Active Directory?
Yeah, well, there's, like most people are given an opportunity to do something, you're asking a couple of questions. And in my case, the three questions are, is this a substantive effort that makes a positive difference in the world? Clearly it does. 90% of cyber events that go wrong involve some degree of exploitation of something called Active Directory. Kind of exploiting the identities of kind of personas, kind of entities within a network of interest. And if you can figure out how to actually bring some value to the proposition you can defend that, then that's materially valuable, substantively valuable too. I take a look at the people that are kind of engaged in that work. And there are subject matter experts and people that I would describe as patriots without any particular affiliation. Doesn't matter what nation, they're actually just trying to do something good for their citizens. And I love the people of Semperis. I've known some of them for many, many years. And the ones that I've recently met make me feel like I'm back in public service again. Right? While there's kind of a revenue target, kind of in this case, as opposed to the government, it feels a lot like public service. And the third is that I then look at, is this actually something that will lead to either experience or practice or contribution that is kind of better by the month, better by the quarter, better by the year? Is it worth making that kind of investment, or is this played out? And this clearly is at kind of its inflection point and heading to a good place.
Yeah. What you described to me is what I've been trying to get across to my fellow CISOs for a long time, which is everything's about risk management. You can't fix everything. And you're describing, to a degree, at least it sounds like, that you're focused on the things that can hurt you the most. And that's ultimately why I joined Semperis. From that reason is I felt I could do a bigger contribution to helping all companies out there.
I think that's well said. I think that's very well said. You cannot defend yourself against all peril all the time, right? You have to make choices about, where perhaps you can concentrate, where you can get some leverage kind of in addressing the issues of the moment. And you can't create perfect security. You cannot create systems that are perfectly resilient or that defend themselves. And so you have to figure out, where am I going to put my finger to perhaps achieve the highest possible leverage?
Active Directory today, I would agree with you. And that's, it seems like you said, 90% of most attacks involve that. And it makes sense because that's where the crown jewels tend to be, at least anyway. Talk a little bit maybe about, and again, you've mentioned a couple times in our discussion already, the word resiliency, which is, for a security person, historically, we didn't use that term. We defend, we did all kinds of things, but keeping things operational historically really wasn't our deal. That was IT's deal, to keep things running. But now it seems all of a sudden, at least I have a strong belief that if a cyber event caused an outage, that's on me now. The outage is not on others that are out there, in the IT world. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, so it is an overused word, especially in my kind of lexicon, but I like the word because I think what it does is gets away from the notion that we're going to make perfect systems or perfectly secure systems, and actually just create an ability to be a hard target, that we've actually made it such that if you're a transgressor, it's going to be harder for you to take advantage of me than it might otherwise be if I'd not taken that action.
Yeah.
And therefore, I'm going to avoid some of these perils simply because the transgressor says, you're too hard, I'll move on, I'll do something else. But even when, somebody comes at you, in cyberspace especially, you have the means by which you can understand what's happening, you can respond to that, you can recover from that. That's resilience. Now, you can describe that in hours-long discussions, but essentially the NIST security model does a pretty good job of that. Have you kind of understood up front what's really important to you and what your dependencies are? Have you prioritized those, to your earlier point, because you can't defend all things against all perils?
Correct.
Have you taken some reasonable measures to actually kind of protect that? Have you made it such that you've got some built-in protection? Kind of maybe in the physical world, do you have an armor plate, or do you have some degree of redundancy, some degree of, they're going to have to work harder to take advantage of you because you've actually taken some time and attention? Can you understand that somebody's actually attempting to do that or has succeeded in kind of getting into the fabric of that? Can you then respond in time and then recover such that you can prevail? You can kind of fight through whatever deficiencies you've had. All of that kind of like lives under the rubric of resilience. And it's really a human kind of discussion as opposed to a technology discussion.
Absolutely. I view it much like my house in a way.
I do.
You have locks, you have alarms, you have all these things, and they're just there to reduce the chance that you're going to be attacked or someone's going to break in. But if someone invariably breaks in, that's why you have to have insurance too, or you've got a plan in your house.
But to your point, the locks and doors are merely the predicate. That's just the setup. You have to then kind of have some degree of vigilance. You have to be aware of what's happening, because if you don't know what's happening, some life force is going to course across the system and kind of take advantage of you at a moment when you're distracted or looking away. Individuals or companies, or for that matter, governments, who leave on the proverbial Friday night, kind of just close the door, but leave their systems on and assume those systems are perfect and safe and will be in the same condition on Monday morning, are always surprised. Why? Because that lack of vigilance across that weekend, whether it's a holiday or a weekend or just a night off, is an opportunity for a transgressor who knows no time off, who knows no boundaries in terms of their workday, to find you at that weakest possible moment.